Before you lie down tonight, stop for one real moment and look at your bed like you have never looked at it before. Not with sleepy eyes, not in a rush. Really look, because something normal, something small, something you touch every day may be sitting in the exact place where peace is supposed to return to you. And if this sounds too simple, stay with me, because simple things can carry heavy effects. Some people pray hard, work hard, and keep hoping for change, yet they still wake up tired in their spirit, heavy in their mind, and restless in their body. Why does that happen? Not always because the answer is far away. Sometimes it is much closer than they think. Sometimes the problem is resting right beside their pillow. And once you see it, you will not unsee it. So do not click away. Stay with me for these next moments, because what looks like a small habit may be shaping the whole feeling of your nights, your mornings, your thoughts, even the atmosphere of your home. This may be the shift that helps your room feel lighter, your sleep feel deeper, and your heart feel calmer. Listen closely. The next few minutes are not noise. They matter more than you think. I want you to hear this with more than your ears. Let it land deep. What I am saying is not hard to understand. It is not hidden behind big words. It lives inside normal life. And that is exactly why so many people miss it. They keep praying, keep waiting, keep trying to move forward, yet something still feels delayed. Their peace feels thin. Their joy feels weak. Their rest never fully arrives. Let me say something clearly. The place where peace becomes real is not only in a prayer service or a worship moment, it is also in your home. It is in your hallway, your kitchen, your living room, and yes, in your bedroom. That room is not empty just because it is quiet. It is not just a place where your body shuts down for a few hours. It is a personal space where your guard drops, where your thoughts slow down, where your inner life becomes more open than you may realize. That is why what enters that room matters. That is why what stays in that room matters. And that is why what gets placed on your bed matters more than most people have ever been taught. If this is already stirring something in you, stay to the end, because the deeper part is still coming and the simple answer may be closer than you expected. When was the last time you looked at your bed as more than furniture? Be honest. Most people see blankets, pillows, sheets, and a place to collapse after a long day. But that is not the whole story. Your bed is where your body lies down, yes, but it is also where your defenses fall. It is where the noise of the day begins to fade, or where it keeps echoing long after the lights go out. It is where hidden pressure rises to the surface. It is where worry can loosen its grip or tighten it. It is where peace can settle or where heaviness can stay. That space is personal ground. It is set apart whether you have called it that or not. There is a reason your nights matter so much. Deep rest is not only about enough hours, it is about renewal. It is about waking with clarity instead of mental fog, strength instead of strain, calm instead of inner pressure. Real rest restores the mind, it steadies the heart, it softens the soul, it makes room for wisdom. And because rest is so powerful, anything that disturbs it should not be treated casually. Catch this part. Many people are losing more than they know, not in loud disasters, but in quiet neglect, in small repeated habits, in daily carelessness carried into the very place where peace should be growing. Think about the last time you woke up truly refreshed, not just awake because an alarm forced you up, not just moving because duty called. I mean, genuinely restored, light in your chest, clear in your head, quiet in your spirit. That kind of morning should not feel rare. But for many people, it does. Some cannot even remember the last time they felt it. They live with broken sleep, heavy dreams, strange tension, and a kind of tiredness that sleep alone does not fix. They blame work. They blame stress. They blame the pace of life. And yes, those things are real. But sometimes there is another layer. Sometimes the atmosphere around rest, has been ignored for too long. We have learned how to keep pushing through the day. We know how to perform, produce, answer messages, solve problems, and carry pressure. But many people were never taught how to protect the night. They were never taught that the space where they sleep should be guarded, respected, and kept clean in more than one way. Watch this closely because this is where the shift begins. The bed is not only where a tired person falls, it is where burdens are either released or quietly carried into tomorrow. And what you place there helps decide which one happens. Do not miss that. Small habits can shape big outcomes, and what feels harmless may be the very thing keeping the room from ever fully settling. There is an unseen side to daily life that people often ignore until they feel desperate. We get used to focusing only on what can be counted, touched, explained, and measured, but not everything heavy can be held in your hands. Not everything affecting a home can be seen with the natural eye. You can walk into one room and feel calm for no clear reason. You can walk into another and feel pressure even when everything looks fine. Atmosphere is real. The emotional weight of a room is real. The tone of a space is real. And repeated habits build that tone little by little, day after day, often without anyone noticing. That is why carelessness becomes expensive. A person may be doing many good things and still overlook what keeps draining them. They may fight big battles while ignoring the small openings. They may search for answers in far places while the quiet problem sits right next to the pillow. Slow down and catch this. Not every struggle begins with something dramatic. Sometimes it begins with routine, with familiarity, with never questioning what has become normal. That is how peace gets pushed out, not always in one loud moment, but quietly, bit by bit, until heaviness starts to feel ordinary. And once unhealthy things feel normal, people stop resisting them. They adjust to them and call it life. That is the danger. Stay with me, because now we are bringing the hidden part into plain sight. So let us say it clearly. The things many people keep tossing onto the bed without thinking are often the same things carrying the full pressure of the day: shoes, outside clothes, bags, wallets, keys, and especially the phone. These things feel harmless because they are part of normal life. You grab them, move with them, use them, drop them, repeat. And because it is so common, you stop noticing the effect. But think about where these items go with you. Shoes walk through crowded places, dirty places, stressful places, tense places. Outside clothes hold the sweat of long hours, the weight of the day, the mood of every room you entered. A bag or wallet moves through buying, rushing, striving, pressure, counting, planning, and worry. Keys carry the feeling of coming and going, of hurry and unfinished business. And the phone carries even more. It holds voices, images, breaking news, comparison, temptation, fear, arguments, notifications, unfinished conversations, and endless noise. It can bring the whole world into your hand in seconds, and that world is rarely quiet. So ask yourself something honest. Why would you place all of that on the very surface where your peace is supposed to settle? Why would the objects that traveled through confusion all day be allowed to sit in the place where your mind is trying to exhale? That is not wisdom. That is habit. And habits can be changed. When shoes land on the bed, people call it convenience. When unwashed outside clothes get tossed over the pillow or blanket, people call it normal. When a purse, wallet, backpack, or keys get dropped there, people hardly think twice. But the act says more than most people realize. It says the outside world can come all the way into the resting place. It says the residue of the day can stay where renewal is supposed to begin. It says there is no line between burden and rest, no separation between pressure and peace. And that separation matters. When a phone is under the pillow, beside the body, or charging right on the bed, it becomes even more serious. That device does not rest. It glows with the urgent. It buzzes with the unfinished. It keeps the mind half open, half waiting, half tied to what is still happening outside the room. Even when it is silent, it often keeps the nervous system ready for the next interruption, the next sound, the next message, the next update, the next bad headline. That is why many people sleep with exhaustion but not with peace. Their body is lying down, but their attention is still standing up. Their room is dark, but their mind is still bright with noise. If this feels sharp, let it feel sharp. Sometimes truth stings before it heals. Keep listening because the answer is not complicated, and that is exactly what makes it powerful. A bedroom can be neat and still feel crowded. A bed can be made beautifully and still hold pressure. Clean sheets matter. Order matters. But peace also asks deeper questions. What enters this room? What stays here overnight? What has been invited in through habit? What tone hangs in the air after the lights go out? Many people pray over big moments, but never pause to consider the atmosphere of the place where they sleep. They ask for help with work, family, money, and open doors, but they do not stop and ask whether their room is helping peace grow or quietly draining it away. And because they never ask, they never notice the patterns, the restless sleep, the bad dreams, the heaviness in the morning, the tension in the chest before the day even starts. If that has been your experience, do not ignore it. But do not make it overly complicated either. Sometimes the answer begins with simple obedience to simple wisdom. Remove what does not belong. Stop laying the outside world on your resting place. Let the bed become a place of peace again, not a shelf for leftover pressure. That may sound like a small change, but do not underestimate what repeated small changes can do. A little shift practiced every night can change the whole feel of a room. And a changed room can change how a person wakes, thinks, responds, prays, and moves through the day. So tonight, do something different. Slow the room down, remove the shoes, fold or hang the outside clothes somewhere else. Put the wallet, purse, bag, and keys in their own place. Move the phone off the bed, and if you can, move it farther than your hand can reach without effort. Let your bed be for rest, peace, and quiet, not for clutter, urgency, and carryover. Open the space, clear the surface, change the signal you are sending to your own mind and body. You are saying this place is set apart. This place will not carry the pressure of the street, the office, the store, the feed, the rush, the noise, and the fear of the day. Words matter, yes, but habits speak too. Repeated actions become the language of a room, so let your room start speaking peace. Let it say safety. Let it say stillness. Let it say enough for today. Some people need this said plainly. You do not need more chaos in the place where you are trying to recover from chaos. You do not need the stress of the day touching your pillow. You do not need every burden sitting where your mind is supposed to release control. This is practical, yes, but it is also deeply meaningful. It teaches your whole being that night is not another battleground. It teaches you how to let go. And for some people, that simple act becomes the beginning of healing. Do not scroll past that idea. Sit with it. You may be thinking, can it really be this simple? Sometimes, yes. Not always easy, but simple. The truth is that many turning points begin with attention, not drama, with awareness, not noise, with finally seeing what has been hiding in plain sight. There are moments when life changes because of one huge decision, but there are also moments when life changes because one small pattern finally gets broken. This may be one of those moments. Maybe the heaviness of your nights did not come from one event. Maybe it built slowly through stress, clutter, noise, overthinking, exhaustion, late night scrolling, and the constant mixing of burden with rest. If so, then restoration may begin the same way through steady choices, quiet ones, clear ones, repeated ones. Protect the room, guard the atmosphere, respect the place where you sleep. Turn down what is loud, remove what is loaded. Make the room less crowded, not only physically, but mentally. Give your thoughts less to react to. Give your heart less to carry. Give your body a cleaner landing place. And do not do it only once because this message touched you tonight. Do it until it becomes your new normal. That is how peace takes root. Not through one emotional moment, but through consistent practice. Not through a burst of inspiration, but through a pattern. And patterns, once changed, can quietly transform an entire season of life. Stay with me because this next part may help more than you know. What you do right before sleep often sets the tone for the whole night. If your final minutes are full of scrolling, bad news, arguments, tension, mental replay, or fast moving noise, then even a soft bed may not feel peaceful. Your body may lie down while your inner world keeps running laps. So create a different landing. Let the room go quiet on purpose. Dim the lights a little earlier. Put down what keeps pulling your attention. Sit still for a minute if you need to. Breathe slowly. Release the day instead of replaying it. If your mind is full, write down what needs to be handled tomorrow so you do not carry every unfinished thought into bed like heavy luggage. Let night be night. Let rest be rest. Tomorrow will ask for your energy, so tonight should not steal it. You do not have to make the room perfect. You just have to make it lighter. That may mean fresh air, a cleaner surface, softer sound, less glow, less clutter, fewer reminders of pressure. Maybe even a short moment of gratitude before sleep instead of one more look at what made you anxious. These are small acts, but small acts repeated at the right time can reshape your inner world. That is how you begin to honor rest again, not only by sleeping longer, but by entering sleep differently, with less urgency, less attachment to the day that already ended, and less noise reaching for you after dark. And if you have used your bed like a holding place for random items for years, do not feel shame. Just begin again, quietly, consistently, without fear. This is not about becoming extreme, it is about becoming aware. Awareness brings order. Awareness brings wisdom. Awareness notices what peace needs and what pressure feeds on. By now, you already know this is about more than objects. It is about protecting what restores you. It is about respecting the private places that shape everyday life. So let your bed stop carrying the residue of the day. Let it stop holding shoes, outside clothes, keys, bags, wallets, and the glowing noise of a phone that never truly sleeps. Let it become simple again. Let it become clear in purpose, not only clean in appearance. And when you lie down, do it with intention. Tell yourself in plain words, this space is for peace. This space is for rest. This space will not host the pressure of the world tonight. Then watch what happens over time. Watch what begins to lift. Watch what softens. Watch how your thoughts change when your nights change. Watch how your mornings start to feel less heavy. Watch how clarity returns in quiet, steady ways. Some wisdom looks small when you first hear it, but small wisdom obeyed can become a major turning point. Do not brush this off tomorrow. Act on it while it is fresh. You were not meant to live every day tired in your soul. You were not meant to treat deep rest like a rare visitor that shows up only once in a while. Peace sometimes has to be protected. Rest has to be honored. And often the first step is shockingly simple. Remove what never belonged on the bed in the first place. But let me go one layer deeper before we close because this matters too. Once the bed is clear, keep the atmosphere clear. Be careful what follows you into the room through sound, through thought, through habit. Not everything needs to be solved at midnight. Not every message needs an answer tonight. Not every worry deserves a seat at the edge of your bed. Some things can wait. Some things should wait. Give yourself permission to power down without guilt. Give your room permission to be quiet without apology. If you live with others, teach this gently by example. Let peace become part of the culture of the room. Let stillness feel normal there. And if you wake in the night, do not rush to reconnect with noise. Stay in the quiet if you can. Let your first reach be for calm, not for chaos, because the room you shape at night will often shape the way you meet the morning, and the way you meet the morning can shape the way you carry the whole day. This is not a tiny lesson, it reaches farther than people think. That is why it matters. So tonight, before the next sunrise, make the change. Not tomorrow, not someday, tonight. Clear the bed, clear the surface, clear the signal. Let your room become a place where your mind does not have to keep performing, where your heart does not have to keep bracing, where your body does not have to stay alert for the next interruption. Make your bed a true resting place again. Let the room feel like a release, not another demand. And if you do this for a few nights, then a few weeks, then long enough for it to become part of your life, do not be surprised if more than your sleep begins to change. You may notice your mornings feel softer, your thinking feels clearer, your reactions feel slower and wiser, your breathing feels easier, your focus comes back. Your patience grows. Your inner life becomes less crowded because rest touches everything. It reaches into your words, your choices, your energy, your relationships, and your ability to carry what life asks of you. So guard it, respect it, make room for it. And if this spoke to you, do not just agree with it, practice it. Start with the bed. Start with the room. Start with tonight. And let one simple act open the door to deeper peace, steadier mornings, and a lighter life than the one you walked in with.